Welcome to another episode of Get Paid for Your Pad. And today it's going to be a really fun episode. I have a special guest, Aaron Hanauer, a Airbnb host in Minneapolis, who has focused on the health and wellness niche. And in particular, what he did is he added a Peloton Treadmill or Peloton Bike to his unit, which has been a fantastic hit. He's gotten great occupancy all the way through COVID. And I thought that was a really smart move because that's something that people are looking for right now, right? Health, wellness, and in particular, being able to work out at an Airbnb is really important, as you know, gyms are closed or people are just a bit wary of crowded spaces. So people want to do everything from home these days, right? So working out as well. So I'm super excited to dive into it. So Aaron, welcome to the show and thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into it. Could you give us a quick background on how you got started and how many units you have and what the experience is so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So 4 years ago, my wife and I bought a 3-unit, 100-year-old house in Minneapolis. The plan was to live in one unit. We inherited some long-term renters in one, and we had another apartment available that had no occupancy. The area, it's in the Lowry Hill neighborhood of Minneapolis. It's 2 miles from downtown, convention center, and major sports stadiums. Also just close to a popular destination for visitors and people around the area called the Chain of Lakes. So we love the area. We wanted to share it with others. And a friend, Jeff Lynn, an Airbnb Superhost at the time, highly encouraged us to do short-term rental, and my wife and I gave it a chance. First 3 years, 2017 to the end of 2019, pre-COVID, we just continually looked to make improvements to our apartment and improve the guest experience, a nice welcome package, the bottled wine, local beer, local chocolates, gift cards to neighboring establishments, a record player and vinyl, a pillow menu to try to compete with some higher end hotels, quality shampoo, New York Times subscription on the iPad with crosswords and cooking. So just trying to give a lot of amenities and offerings to the guests. And over those 3 years, we continue to put profits into our house improvements and make the place more marketable. We were able to get a second short-term rental apartment up and going, and just have other plans to make improvements over the success that we had in those first 3 years. And I just want to thank you. I mean, we devoured your podcast from the beginning and just felt that support from afar away. You really encouraged the community to have local hosts get together and work together. And that's something that my friend Jeff started. And we know that we've continued a network of local hosts, and that's really made a big difference. And just tips that you've given us all along the ways have just been so valuable, of the floor plan and area map of attractions that are close to your place, fast internet speed, and just intangibles that I could go on, but I'll leave it there and say thank you. So COVID hit, and we really wanted to work on 2 of those WFH acronyms: work from home, but also work out from home. And that second one has really paid off, as you noted, and we plan to go further with that. Around October 2019, a previous guest of yours mentioned that they had a gym offering, and that piqued my interest. It's something that I want to do when I'm traveling. My wife and I wanted to work out from home, even pre-pandemic. So we decided to get a Peloton bike that we would use for us and for our guests. And my wife jokes that everything that we do is for the guests, and there's some truth to that, but we loved it and we wanted to share that. And that Peloton subscription and that bike gives you that live on-demand spinning classes, but also yoga, strength, cardio that you can stream to your TV or to your bike. And so we added that Peloton to our listing. And fast forward, it was some dark days during COVID, but come April and May, it's like mid or late April 2020, we got our first booking And it was a 2-month booking. Someone came here for an Amazon training. And one of the reasons they booked was because we had that Peloton bike here. And since then, if we send a link to our listing, you can see that the guests have really, this is one of the reasons why they booked. They've said, you had me at Peloton, or we won't have to think about missing our workouts while we're traveling. So it's been fantastic. People like staying in touch with their friends and family from afar because of the video options that come with the bike, and that you can do a bike ride together. So it's been really cool. And I think our public reviews also showed the appreciation that people have for the bike. So it became so popular that we now have a bike in each of the short-term rental apartments, and then we have our own bikes, so no guests have to come in contact with us while they're doing theirs. And I think that private aspect of having the bike in the apartment is much more valuable than just in a common area.
Yeah, I think it's a genius idea. And I think the guest that you mentioned, I think that was Christian, who's in our STR Legends Mastermind. He is out of Michigan, Traverse City, right? Is that
that makes sense? Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah. So
thank you, Christian.
Yeah. Chris is awesome. He's been to both of our STR Legends Mastermind events. He's an incredible person. And the way that he had set it up was he had a deal with a local gym where he basically got a subscription, and then he said, instead of me having the subscription, I'll pay you a little bit more, but I want to be able to have my guests go to the gym, and there's always one group of guests, so it's not too much of a drain on the gym, but it's a huge value, right? Because I mean, look, for myself, like working out is a big thing for me as well. And I've traveled around the world for close to 10 years. And one of the biggest challenges was always finding a local gym and getting like a affordable 1 month pass or something, right? Because oftentimes gym memberships, they're affordable if you have it for like a year. But then if you just want to come like one day, they charge you like, 15, 20, 30 bucks. And it's just kind of crazy, right? So that's a big value that you can offer to your guests. But what you're doing is, I think it's even smarter because, well, number one, it's like you can work out at home, but number two, as I understand it, is that Peloton is like a really strong brand, right? So people probably call themselves like Pelotoners or something like that.
Pelotonistas. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an extra additional benefit, right? That people are like, oh, I love Peloton, so I want to stay somewhere that has a Peloton.
Yeah, and I'm mindful of, there are some other great products out there that I think have the passionate and loyal following, such as Tonal or Mirror, that's owned by Lululemon. But it's been great, and you're right, Jasper. There's a net promoter score, which is how the loyalty of customers, and how much promotion people will give by just telling word of mouth advertising. And Peloton ranks up there with Tesla and Apple in terms of that NPS, or net promoter score. There's just millions of members to Peloton. I think 5.4 million current members. The goal is to have 100 million members. Social media, they are highly engaged, and people that love the product also post to social media. And also, I noted that there's opportunities for free marketing for those that have this or other work from home products. There's 2 websites that I noted, like there's the Peloton Hotels and On the Go. There's 42,000 members. We've posted our apartments on that website for free, and you can see the views. Just when you look on the Airbnb view page, you can see that go up a lot. And then Pillow Buddy, also a podcast devoted just to Peloton, but they have on their website a map of where you can go work out on Peloton products around the country and the world. So it's been great, and we're happy we did it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like you're able to leverage essentially like a marketing channel for free, right? By posting in those groups. And
Absolutely.
I can
Yeah.
totally see, yeah, I can totally see how that will work. Um, so just for people who don't know what a Peloton is, like for example, I don't really know I know it's a bike, and
Right.
I love, we were chatting briefly before we started recording. I'm a huge cyclist. I love cycling. So I'm definitely interested in learning a bit more about this Peloton thing. But what's so special about the Peloton? Because it's not just a bike, right?
Right. And it is that community of people, but it is also the exciting and engaging instructors. And I know, again, there are other options, but for us, it's been it's been fellow friends that hold you accountable for working out and doing workouts with them, that potential or opportunity. It's just having it there at your home when you can work out whenever you want. And also you can always just compete with yourself or with others and just get an incredible workout in a short period of time and not have to travel or drive or bike or walk to get to your workout gym. So I've developed friendships through the community, and also in addition to just the great aspect from a short-term rental aspect. In addition to the biking, as I don't know if I mentioned, they do have an incredible library of classes of yoga, strength training, meditation, and so there's much more than just the bike or the treadmill. And there's more products that I am likely are coming at the end of this year. Yeah.
So for people who are listening and are thinking, hey, this might be a good idea for for my own Airbnb. How much do you have to invest for
Right.
for a Peloton bike?
The payment, you can get one you can finance it. So it's $1,800 is the bike, or over 39 months, you can pay $49 a month for the bike. And then there's a $39 subscription for a monthly subscription. Something that and then they have a treadmill, and I know that they had some problems with the treadmill and safety that they are resolving. So that's coming back. I can talk about that and insurance if you want in a little bit, but if you have the treadmill and the bike at the same time, you only have one subscription that is needed. So it's about $80 to $100 a month is what the cost would be if you did a bike. I'd say about that cost.
Yeah, so that sounds like a very good investment. Less than $100 a month. So that means if you get one extra booking, or if you can increase your prices by like $5 a night,
Right.
5 to 10, maybe $10 a night, then you're making your money back right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look back at the stats in preparing for the show, and our occupancy was from May 2020 to the end of 2020 for that apartment was around 85%, and average length of stay was 16 days, and the median stay was 10 days. So we were thrilled with the results, and even in winter times when it is challenging for rentals in a northern state like Minnesota, that we were still able to get solid bookings and just some incredible guests. So we couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Were you able to raise your prices after you got the Peloton?
We've continued to do that, and I know that that's an area that I likely can and should improve on. It's been I would say we've increased 10 to 15%. So we've set a static weekday and weekend price that we felt good with, and have maintained that. And so I'm confident that we've been able to increase it by, like I said, 10 or 15%.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So the treadmill is coming out soon, you said, and you mentioned something around insurance. Like, what if somebody goes on the treadmill, falls? Like, how does
Yeah,
that work?
right. Well, the so we have an umbrella policy for our apartment in case something like that happens, and God forbid something like that does not happen. They've had a recall, so the treadmills aren't even available for sale at this time, but they have 2 treadmill products and one should be coming on the market in the next month or so. And we don't have that many kids that stay here, but we will not allow anyone under the age of 16 or to ride the treadmill. And so just taking extra precautions, and so is Peloton to make sure additional injuries don't happen.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So I think with just caution and taking extra steps and just reminding guests that injuries can happen is something that we are hopeful just that for years and years to come that there isn't an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah, because I guess the treadmill is a bit of a bigger risk than the bike, right? Because it's pretty hard to injure yourself on the bike, I think.
Right. So far so good for me, but yeah, it can happen. I know that there are injuries, and that is something that we'll think through of just making sure that we do everything that we can to keep a safe environment.
Yeah. I want to move on and talk a little bit more in general about the health and wellness angle, because with seeing the success of your Airbnb with the Peloton Bike, you want to expand into this niche and really focus on it and add some other things that are related to health and wellness, right?
Yeah. One of our favorite places in the country is 10,000 Waves in Santa Fe, a Japanese-inspired spa and resort. And just the feeling that my wife and I got when we went there is just this calmness, but also just beautiful and serene. And the design aspects of that space were so inspirational. So our plan is to have this incredible workout area with there's a strength machine coming. There's a strength machine coming. We want to make this cool yoga studio in the backyard, and also have the other workout aspects available for guests. And with that sauna, a Japanese soaking tub, I just think it could be created hopefully a destination or this place that would inspire guests to come and stay, both those traveling for work or those looking for a vacation, that for those that don't live that far away. That was so important during COVID. So I just really want, I guess, for us and for our guests to create that space of calm, and also have these endorphin producing machines there where they're going to hopefully associate your place with reminder, because they felt so good by working out, that this would be something that we'll continue to see repeat guests come and stay and enjoy. But yeah, I think a good design, quality products have really paid off, and we want to just continue that trend.
Yeah. Are there a lot of guests that specifically mention the Peloton Bike in their reviews or in their feedback?
Yeah, they have, and I think you could just the appreciation of that, and just thanking us for having it there. They do mention that, and equally important, I would say, is for the reasons that they booked. I just, the one that stood out was, "You had me at Peloton," was the reason. I mean, they didn't look at much else besides having that we had the bike. And the bookings have come far in advance, and that might be a reflection maybe that we should or could increase our prices for our nightly stay. But our bookings, we can book out, I'd say, I don't know what the average is, but well in advance of when their stay is coming, months in advance of this, when people have been booking.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because I stayed at a lot of Airbnbs, and I've booked quite a few Airbnbs in the last couple months, and I'm actually going to Barcelona in next week. So I'm going to be staying at a Airbnb, actually an Airbnb of one of our Legends X students, which is super fun to be staying at places that are run by our own students. It's super fun.
Absolutely.
But I also booked an Airbnb here in Panama City for a friend of mine who's currently visiting from the US, and it's just interesting because I've noticed when I look at an Airbnb, like the first thing I look for is the internet speed, right? And I started thinking about that, and as you mentioned that your guest said you have me at Peloton, it made me think like probably every guest has like one very specific thing that they're looking for, right? Whether it's the internet speed or like a kitchen that they can cook in, or maybe it's like an outside area. Everybody probably has this one thing that they're looking for. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. I can totally see that somebody, like, if you're a Peloton fan and you see an Airbnb that has a Peloton, you'd be like, oh my god, I'm staying there. You know what I mean? It's like I don't care about the rest.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the attraction we've had, and the feedback that we've gotten from some people. And it is a fun way to talk to guests if we come into contact with them, and to share that connection as well. It's a nice icebreaker. And I don't want to downplay the work from home aspect. That was something that we gained from you, and just I know how important it was. We definitely, when COVID hit, we looked to upgrade our work from home aspects, and we improved our internet speed like 3 times the speed for like $20 a month. Well worth it. A mesh network, a standing desk, an anti-fatigue mat, an additional computer monitor. So I think the combination of the work from home and the workout from home acronyms, those two things together have really paid off and created a good environment for our guests.
Yeah, I will say the number one thing that I've learned from doing these podcasts since COVID started, I think the stand-up desk that was suggested. That was suggested by me to me by Will Slickers, who's actually also in our Legends X program, and he runs his own podcast. And I thought that was genius too. I think the Peloton is going to add. I'm going to add that to the list of genius things suggested by guests or by podcast guests, essentially.
I can relate if this was a guest just a couple episodes ago, just talking about that. But I remember it was like this hot day, and the first guest that was coming from an Amazon training after COVID, and just sweating and just trying to get this new stand-up desk into the apartment with him, and so they could have it. So it was just like on the fly, get it in there, and they and his partner really appreciated having it in the apartment. But we're glad we did.
And actually, that stand-up desk, that's probably going to be my number 2 thing that I would look for, or maybe even the number 1 thing that I would look for in the future. Like if I see an apartment that has a stand-up desk, I'm very eager to book it, because I've got a bit lower back problems. And so if I sit all day in a chair, my back gets tight, and it starts hurting. So the stand-up desk has definitely been a solution for me to get rid of my back pain. So if I see a stand-up desk in an Airbnb, that's definitely a very strong motivation for me to book it. Yeah,
for sure. For those that might do the bike, and I thought of some other tips or ideas for the Peloton of so with outdoor biking and clips, there's so many different types of clip-ins that you can get for bikes, but we offer just the toe cages where people can use tennis shoes, and just the standard Delta style pedals. Those are the 2 options I think we're going to limit to, instead of trying to cater to everyone. They can flip out the pedals. We went with the warranty. It's like $200 for the bike for 3 years. And so if something happens, it's a lot less output for money than if something to the screen or something happens. So their customer service has been great. We started putting water bottles, just like a smart water bottle in there for $1 a bottle, so they can have something there instead of, perhaps they don't bring their own disinfectant, and then just those precautions of making sure kids are not around is something that we put in there. So those are some other ideas that we wanted to share.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's really helpful. Awesome. Well, we're getting to the end of the podcast. Is there anything else that you want to share, or any final thoughts?
No, I just thank you and for everything, and it's great to meet you. And I've just, the combination of Airbnb and Peloton has been really good, and I think we're just going to double down on that and to create this hopefully nice spa or retreat, health and wellness retreat that we'll be able to enjoy, and hopefully guests will as well.
Yeah, for sure. And let people know how they can find your Airbnb if somebody wants to stay in Minneapolis. I can't pronounce that name. How do you say it?
Right.
Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, yes. My name is Aaron Hanauer. So Aaron Hanauer at Gmail. I direct bookings. You could, if you Google Airbnb Minneapolis Peloton, our 2 listings will come up, Colleen and Aaron. And also on the leaderboard of the exercise bike, it's _Surly, SURLY, if there are fellow Peloton fans out there that want to connect on the bike.
Awesome. Sweet. I love how Peloton has that community aspect to it.
And you can high five all you want, and maybe people don't to stay in touch that way. But I'd love to answer any questions people have, and be there if I can as a resource.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, just Google it, Airbnb Minneapolis Peloton, and your listing is right on the top. Lowery treetop plus Peloton plus home office.
Yeah.
Great title.
And so I was 2 things of just, that was another thing that I thought was a way to free advertising and research. If I'm sure other guests are maybe doing that type of search, and you were able to find it that way. And I forgot the other thing, but so I just saw that as another advertising opportunity. Yeah.
You also have in your title LT disc. What does that mean?
Thanks. So I know our title was it's not the sexiest, not the greatest, but we really wanted to get across the things that we offer. Long-term discount is what that was to stand for. So we got the bike, we got the home office, and we're offering a long-term discount. And so it's not catchy and quick, but it gets down to what we have.
Interesting. So I didn't get that it's a discount. I thought it was a disc. I thought it was something to do with the bike, maybe.
So maybe we should change. Maybe we should modify that.
What I associate the word disc with is because I have a road bike that has disc brakes.
Right.
So I immediately made that association with the Peloton bike and a disc. Yep. I was like, is that like something related to the bike?
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's good. We're running into character limitations, but we're gonna work on that.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Aaron. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is, I think you're doing something great with your Airbnbs, and super inspiring. I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this and go to the Peloton website, figure out how they can get their Peloton. And if you are planning on doing that, let me know, because I would love to hear from you. If you listen to one of the podcasts and you take some of the advice that the guests are sharing and implement it into your business, that's in the end of the day, that's what we're here for, to inspire the listeners. So if you do take action on that, I would love to hear from you. Send an email, jasper@getpaidforyourpet.com, and then maybe you'll be on the show in the future. So that's how Aaron got on the show too. Just reaching out.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron, and thanks to listeners. And we'll be back next week with another episode. See you then.